I just press this?
No, you haven't pressed anything.
No.
It's alright though, we're sorting it now.
Yeah, you have. We're just getting second-rate equipment.
Just threw me to start with because I was the other one.
I got this.
What?
Football.
Football? Right, that's coming from... Oh, that's coming from there. Okay, let's go with the football.
Nothing.
I got nothing.
No. Nada.
So weird hearing comms done when you haven't got earphones on.
Yeah, I know. Bizarre, isn't it?
We did it at the World Cup when it was COVID. We did it at the Sky Sports studio. Freezing cold, and it was just weird.
What the fuck?
Welcome back to all the action here in Belfast, night one of the PDC Premier League, brought to you on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. Well, what a game that was, Laura. Now, it was a similar average to that of MVG in the previous game, but it just didn't feel the same, did it?
It wasn't quite under the same type of pressure that Luke Littler put on MVG, but he still had to do a job. And Nathan Aspinall was on the comeback. He gave him a lot of chances early doors. Aspinall not able to convert. I think 8 missed doubles over the legs 1 and 3, and Luke Humphries was just there to kind of collect the reward. But yeah, you've still got to do the job, and it will be interesting to see how that second semi-final pans out.
Yeah, it was a game of missed doubles, wasn't it? 6 from 10, 60% for Luke. Just 20%, 2 from 10. They had the same amount of opportunities at doubles, but it was Humphries that took every chance, because 180 apiece, couple of 140s between them, couple of tons between them. So it certainly wasn't the scoring department that got it done, but more the timing. Well, up next, semi-final number 1, and a match I'm looking forward to. Chris Dobey is up against Rob Cross. Now, these two, well, the last time they met, Laura, incredibly, was a match that we covered on talkSPORT, the World Championships, the 2023/2024 Worlds. It was on New Year's Day. It was a quarter-final. It was a match that Chris Dobey, for 4 sets, was irresistible. Absolutely hitting them in off the lampshades. Remarkably, Rob Cross came from 4-0 down to him 5 sets to 4. But in their overall head-to-heads, this is their 17th meeting. Do you know what their head-to-head is?
There can't be much between them. This is
there
going to be
isn't.
the one game, surely.
No, 8 apiece.
Oh, it is.
8 apiece going into this game. Yeah, they've had some spells on the back of, incredibly, which made that performance from Rob Cross even more special. Going into that game, he'd lost his last 5 against Chris Dobey, was 4-0 down and looking like 6 on the spin. But yeah, he managed to find a way. But prior to that, he'd won like I said, he lost 5 on the spin, then won 2 on the spin, then lost 2 on the spin, 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, but lost their very first meeting, which was all the way back in 2017 in a UK Open qualifier that, well, we all know what happened to Rob Cross on the back of playing in the UK Open qualifiers. The rest is history. But in terms of 2 TV meetings, they've had, well, they played in the World Championship twice prior to that. Dobey, in that spell of winning 5 on the spin, won that encounter in 2022 in the last 16, 4 sets to 2. So this game holds no fear for either player. They both have vast experience of getting one over each other, but right now I think you sort of just about favour Chris Dobey with the way that Rob Cross has been playing of late, but we know it is very much all on the night. Who do you fancy and why?
Yeah, I think I'd go with you. The only thing I will say, if Chris Dobey does take that lead, you mentioned the World Championships where we went 4 sets ahead, but do you remember back in 22 at the match play? The pair of them met there as well, which I think was probably the last one prior to that run that Dobey was on, where Dobey led 8 legs to 2 in a race to 11 and then kind of went out and lost
11-9.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah, I remember it well.
I do imagine if Dobey does stretch a lead, Rob Cross possibly won't panic as much as other people might.
No, and that's a good point. You know, in some matches, if you go behind an opponent, you fear the worst. But yeah, I don't think you'll be too worried. But this is a very short race. Same format as all the other games. 1st to 6. You were a fan of the walk-on?
To be fair, I was bobbing my head up and down. A little bit of Anton Deck.
Memories of your... What were they called in this?
PJ and Duncan.
There you go. Showing
Showing
our
my
age.
age, yeah.
But he's all smiles, looks very, very relaxed, and well, he should be. Actually, Chris Dobey isn't the favourite for this match. It's 11 to 10 Dobey. Rob is 8 to 11. Interesting. Well, we'll see who's right and who's wrong in about 17 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris Dobey, of course, got the better of Gerwyn Price 6-4 in a really enjoyable game. That was our opening match of the night. And Rob Cross got another win over Stephen Bunting. That's 9 on the spin now. MVG involved well, if there's a better game in this year's Premier League, I can't wait to see it, because Littler versus MVG was everything that we hoped for and got. MVG just winning the deciding leg whilst Littler was waiting on a double. And then we've just seen Luke Humphries, well, pretty comfortably really in the end, get the better of Nathan Aspinall, who's not 100%, that's for sure, and he's going to have to watch himself this year, because it could be a tough season if he doesn't shake that injury off.
Yeah, I agree. Mentioned it before tonight, and I do think that dart players now, with the diary in the way that it is, especially if you're included in the Premier League, that management of your time is all so important, picking and choosing the right tournaments at the right time. Well,
with an injury like that, Laura, you've got to either bite the bullet and say, right, I'm having 6 months out, because potentially he could just be shortening his career. I personally didn't have him in, not that I didn't want him in or I'm not a fan, I just thought, when we've had it before, I think Gerwyn Price pulled out, and it really does complicate the whole table. And it means, of course, having to play multiple matches on one night, potentially. And I just thought they would have looked at the situation and thought, you know what, give him 3 months off, get it completely sorted. If it needs an op, get it done. But in their wisdom, I presume they would have checked with Nathan and his management and said, right, is he able to play, and is he able to complete the campaign? That was my biggest worry.
yeah, and it's sensible, I think. Personally, I mean, Nathan did actually take, under his own volition, he took 3 months out to try and overcome that injury.
But wasn't it wrongly diagnosed?
Yeah, and he looked better, and he said he felt better at the Masters. So maybe that injury's just kind of turning a corner for him. But
yeah, let's hope so. Because playing with an injury, as you know, is just, you can't. What you can't do is put in the hours of practice you need to be ready. You can't do it.
Yeah, in practice, it's all too important. You've got the players all around you, and I can just say it just from playing on the women's series. The players around you are getting better and better, and you need to put.
You're playing catch up.
You are, yeah, I definitely am. But yeah, you need to be able to put in those hours in order to keep up with the momentum of the rest of the players in the field.
Rob Cross has the throw in this one, and starts with a steady away ton. Dobey, a more explosive 140. Kirk Bevins is the referee for this one. Quickly to follow will be semi-final number 2, which will see an intriguing matchup between Luke Humphries and Michael van Gerwen. Not really become much of a rivalry, that one.
Not yet, but they've still got plenty of years to go, I'm sure.
That's the best I've seen. I know he's had averages in and around that number, but in terms of producing when put under it, which has been his Achilles heel of late, he's just missed too many darts at doubles, and he's allowed opponents in, which is something that, of course, in his absolute pomp he would never do. But tonight he played Luke Littler, who averaged close to 113 and still found a way. That's encouraging. Rob Cross finding a way here from 263, 2 treble 20s. Fills it.
And the first maximum goes the way of Rob Cross, leaves him on 83, but Dobey first to a finish. 145 required, finds the treble 20. Finds the treble 19, so double 14, just clips the inside of the wire.
Oh, you could hear how close that was. Super effort from Dobey. But Rob Cross still work to do on 83. May only end up with one dart at a ball. Single 16 gets it. Bullseye. Ooh, thought that was in from the angle we saw. So double 7 for Dobey. For a breaker throw. Oh dear, he's gone inside. Well, Rob Cross was getting opportunities in his first game, wasn't he? That maybe on another night he wouldn't have got, but it seems to be spilling over into this match already.
Yeah, now he just got to take them, and take it he does. 25 is converted by Cross as a hold, a throw, and as you say, I think we said it quite a few times in that match against Stephen Bunting, got away with one there, but the one thing Cross could do was also lay down a couple of good legs just to give him that bit of breathing space.
Yeah, and that was an 18 dart hold in the end.
Yeah, good
Did you play county? Was it county last, or was it this weekend, or was it the weekend before?
It was this weekend, but I was at the
yeah.
Masters with you.
You were. Yes, you were. Lucky girl. You get all the best gigs.
Yeah.
Dobey, 387 on throw, and Rob Cross looking to punish a pretty ordinary start so far from Chris Dobey. He is another one of those players that they're actually quite similar. Their B games aren't up there with the likes of Littler and Humphries, etc. It's more of an A to C rather than A to Z, but that big game of B game of mid-90s, not quite there for either.
Yeah, I do agree. And we've seen how good they are when they're firing on all cylinders. They can beat absolutely anyone in the field, but they have to be firing on all of them. And it's Chris Dobey fires in a maximum to leave himself on 108.
Yeah, when Dobey's absolutely on it, I mean, his throw is effortless. It's not quite up there with Steve Beaton's, but it ain't far away. He makes it in 1/8. It looks so easy, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no one's ever going to be quite up there with Steve Beaton's.
No.
I'd actually put Bo Greaves in second place. I think she's got a wonderful action.
Same. Hence the reason she's had so much success. Good news for Bo as well. She's playing in the Players' Championships, isn't she, when they get underway?
Yeah, excellent opportunity.
Pleased to see her taking part in those. I think it'll bring her game on even further. Unlucky for you lot.
Yeah, maybe it's not. No, it's fantastic for the sport, fantastic for women's darts. And
absolutely. Well, you look at the effect Littler's had. Bo potentially can do the same for the women's game. Oh, Rob Cross just misses the ball on 1-2-6 for 2-0. Dobey will be back 48-16 for double 16. You know what he did there, Laura? What I advised to do. Got a big target there, and I just say aim for the wire in between the two. You're either going to leave tops or double 16.
Yeah, if you don't mind which one you leave, then it's.
I can miss them both.
Yeah.
And do with regularity.
Oh,
that's awkward. It's laid across, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. That was awkward. And Rob Cross knows that was a great chance that he crafted out there to go 2-0 ahead. But this will one apiece. 32 required here for Chris Dobey.
Yeah, they're both scratching about a bit, aren't they?
Yeah, and still scratching. 2 missed for Dobey. 3 missed for Dobey. More chances for Rob Cross.
Well, Dobey's now across 2 legs of darts, missed 7 darts at a double. 6 for Cross, make that 7.
I mean, we've all had games and matches where it hasn't quite clicked, but you just don't want it to be opening night at the Premier League.
No.
32 the target, and that's well inside the 16, but very well adjusted, and it is double 8 found by Chris Dobey, and we are at 1 apiece.
Somehow. Usually fine in a game as well, and a player who's guilty of this more than most is Gerwyn Price. If he starts it in his doubles and he pins them, he'll go through the match doing it. If in either of the opening couple of legs he starts missing doubles, he'll miss doubles throughout. It's infectious, and it usually happens. And Luke Humphries I was impressed with, because he missed a handful of missed the darts at a double and then just put it right and then didn't miss throughout the rest of the match.
Yes, that mentality, isn't it, of just being able to very quickly put stuff behind you, be that legs or any other.
You have a recycle bin in your brain, you just dump it all in there, a bit like dodgy emails. Cross's throw under a bit of pressure. Both players, well, this is poor. 80 average for Dobey, 75.61 for Rob Cross.
Yeah, both have gone off their best. Most of that average brought down by a handful of missed doubles by both. Dobey with a slight initiative here on the Rob Cross throw.
Yeah, I mean, there's been 8 scores of a ton or more, including a couple of 180s and 4 140s in the opening 2 legs. So in terms of the scoring phase of the game, that's been okay. But between them, they've hit 2 doubles out of 18.
Yeah, those stats won't get you very far in the Premier League.
No.
Dobey with a chance here to go 2-1 ahead, but under a bit of pressure there with that 162 from Rob Cross.
16 for double, almost the same hole. That's a long way off. That's not. And that's a much, much better leg and a breaker throw for Chris Dobey. And he'll be aware that Rob Cross is struggling here. And what you can sometimes do is try to go through the gears, and really all you need to do is maybe up it by 5%, and that would be enough.
We didn't think Rob Cross looked particularly settled against Stephen Bunting in that opening match.
No, we picked up on it fairly early, just didn't look comfortable, made a few errors that are not like him at all, and that's usually when your brain's a bit like mush, where you're flapping a bit, you're not confident, you're second guessing. And I've had it sometimes on counting where, because you're struggling, your brain just doesn't operate right.
Yeah, you kind of go back to that old school thing that, you know, if it ends in an even number,
yeah, that'll do.
Go for a 20. If it ends in an odd one, go for a 19. We've all had that kind of confusion.
Absolutely.
You just get the feeling that Dobey's going through the gears slightly. Once again, it's him with the advantage. 2-4-7 place. Rob Cross is 3-4-1.
Yeah, and both will be aware that they don't have to up it much to get some kind of grip on the game. But a great 140 down to 201. Dobey 247 and just strays to the left of the treble 20 into treble 5. Can't leave a finish from here, pal. Nothing you can do with 222 with 1 dart in your hand.
No, and it'll be Cross first down to a finish. Can't find a big treble.
Yeah, that was 51 scored, but it was horrible. 193 Dobey, he's right in the treble 20, and again treble 19's the shot, gets it. 177 to leave double 8. An opportunity here to string 3 together for Dobey. Lost the opening leg, and he will be back at double 8, and he's had success on that double. Well, he should have had. He's had 12 goes at it.
Practice makes perfect, Chris.
Yes, very true. In she goes. Super leg for Chris Dobey, and it is 3 on the spin in each of those 3 legs. Well, 180 in leg 2, 180 in leg 3, 177 in leg 4. He's at the halfway point.
Yeah.
And he's lifted his average up, Lauren. Cross averaging 82.9.
Yeah, Cross has also upped his average slightly, but key factor really for me is the fact that Rob Cross hasn't had many chances at the outer ring since winning that first or losing that second leg, really.
I mean, he's 15 points off his mean average for the last 12 months. So that just shows you how far off the pace he is.
Yeah, both players picked up a couple of points in terms of the Premier League, in terms of the table, by way of winning their first fixture.
Yeah, that's all you want to do is make a winning start, isn't it, to any type of these kind of campaigns. I'm sure you've played in singles leagues back home, and it's the same mentality, isn't it? Just get some points on the board, and then you can build.
You just want that initial platform, don't you?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And listen, night 1 in the Premier League, listen, they're playing in front of an incredible crowd in Belfast that's creating a wonderful atmosphere, and there'll be trepidation in the opening night. There's nothing. Listen, you and I have both been to plenty of these Premier Leagues. There's nothing quite like it anywhere else, is there? There's no other atmosphere that is the same as the Premier League.
No, it's absolutely electric. I think the one that gave me goosebumps. I think probably Rotterdam.
What is it? Is it 12,000 there or something like that?
It's huge. It's massive.
I haven't actually been to that one. It's on the bucket list. Just jump on the Eurostar one Thursday when it's on. And
Absolutely. It's definitely one I'd recommend any of them,
Yeah.
to be fair, if you can actually be lucky enough to get your hands on a ticket the
Yeah.
way they sell these days.
yeah, good luck with that.
Two missed here by Rob Cross. Once again, the target 32, but does find it third dart of asking. But no real reaction there, Chris, from
No.
Rob Cross.
No, there can't be any reaction because he knows it's below par, isn't it? And listen, dart players, we all do it. We search for perfection. We try and master the impossible. And Rob Cross is only happy when he's playing to a level that he thinks it's acceptable for him. And at the moment, this isn't.
I think sometimes the worst thing, isn't it, as a player, is when you actually feel uncomfortable, when the darts don't feel right in your hand, or the release is all wrong.
And you just know they just sit in your hand, and you just know. And I tried to explain this to people that haven't played at, whether it be even at Super League and county level. Some days they just don't go, and the same thing can happen for guys at this level, former world champions and elite level operators. Some days you just get out there. Listen, I've seen Luke average like 80 and 90 on the Pro Tour. So if it can happen to players like these, then we shouldn't worry.
Yeah, all human beings at the end of the day, and all slightly fallible, just some less than others. A good switch there for the last for Cross. Finds treble 18, leaves himself on 170. Keeps trying to put that pressure on, and Rob Cross just building up slightly.
Yeah, he's just starting to play himself back into it. The average creeps over the mid-80s now. It's the one thing Rob Cross is never going to do. There's no quit in him.
To be fair, you can really look at that whole field, and I think all of them will really dig their heels in.
Battle.
You're not going
Absolutely.
to get a walkover. You're gonna have to fight to win.
Bull for the 129, and it was a good effort. Just south of the bullseye. The line was okay. It was just slightly under pitch. 77 for Cross for 3-3. Double 10 needed. Pins it. We got a game on our hands.
Yeah, Chris Dobey, 3 consecutive legs 2, 3 and 4, and now it's 2 on the bounce. And Rob Cross levels us up at 3 apiece. Definitely getting more competitive as that finishing line comes into sight. I think some players, it's that kind of fight or flight type reaction.
Absolutely.
Both of these are fight, I think.
Yeah. Well, in the end, you just switch off completely, and you just switch to autopilot, I think.
Sometimes after the buzz of a walk-on and all that adrenaline pumping through, it's actually quite hard to switch off.
To dump it, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you need that bit of pressure, or you need to get really involved and embroiled in a game in order for you to kind of forget everything that's happened beforehand.
Very, very true. And Dobey, although led 3-1, may have been a little one-paced, but he's sort of stayed at that level. And now, well, they're averaging almost identically. And that is why Rob Cross is, well, now getting a foothold in the game. He's down to a finish where Dobey can't leave one from 3-4-6, even if he hits a max, which he does.
He finds the max, but it's a champagne shot here left for Rob Cross. Doesn't have to go that route, but finds treble 20, 72 required. 2 treble 20s, leaves him double 6. Double 6 is pinned.
Outstanding, absolutely outstanding.
Maybe this is Rob Cross's MO when it comes to playing Chris Dobey.
Let him get in front and then peg him back. Yeah, that was a beauty. Not as pretty as the ball double 16, but equally as effective. Hello, is he finding a bit of a purple patch? The 1-3-2 is followed up with a max, 6 perfect darts. Just in the wrong order, Rob. I honestly thought one was going to come in the MVG Littler game. I just had a feeling we were going to see one there.
Plenty more weeks to come. I'm sure we will see a 9.
I think we'll see a few.
And after the 180 from Cross, can only find 22.
And it's allowed Dobey a bit of breathing space. Finds 60 to leave 170. Now Cross has got to be a bit careful here. He should start on 19s, and does. He needed 2 treble 20s to leave 160. Doesn't get 1 treble. So Dobey doesn't even need to go for the 170. Shots on. And he wants the ball. He's going for it. Whoa, hey!
Wow. I see your 132 and I raise your 170.
All in.
There's another match that feels like it could go all in. We could go all the way.
Absolutely. There's hardly anything between them in terms of averages. Both have had 2 big finishes, none as big as the 170. Well, it's his turn to have 6 perfect. He's backed up the 170 with a max.
Yeah, brilliant. And whilst it has had areas of the match where they've struggled slightly on the outer ring, it's becoming a real tussle, a real battle between the two.
Yeah, I think you had it. I think you're spot on, Laura. Like all the adrenaline and the build-up, and then, like you say, you have to get yourself sort of so deep in a game where everything else is just sort of evaporates in your mind, any negativity, and you just play.
Yeah, there's no better feeling as a player when you just allow yourself to play, but it is easier said than done, and a wicked deflection there for Rob Cross as he clatters into those other 2 darts, coming away with 120 instead of 180.
Yeah, the great players have the greatest minds, in my opinion, or the greatest ability just to switch off. Like, you know, I've had Taylor where we've been involved 10 all in the match play, and I'm thinking, right, I'm getting him out of here. And then we come off the break, he beats me 16-11, like it was just a game down the pub. And I'm like, was I not getting you out? He said, no, I was loving it. Well, I wasn't. Only 40 from Dobey. That's opened the door for Rob Cross. Well, he's had 1-3-2 one way, 2 treble 20s, double 6. This time he'll be going at the ball. Doesn't miss it, but it's a great guide. 25 leaves 107. That's why they go this way. Ooh, misses the treble 19, and in fairness for him, a long way off. Does tidy though. Leaves double 14 if Dobey don't take 120.
Yeah, finds a single 20. Needs to come down for the treble, which he does. So tops the target for 5-4 Dobey. Tops is found, and it's 5-4 Dobey. Backs up that 170 checkout with a 120.
More importantly, Laura, it's a breaker throw, so he now throws for the match. And yeah, 3 ton plus outs on the spin in this match. All starting with the 132 from Rob Cross, was then trumped with the 170. And then just took out 120 for 5-4. Starts with a ton.
Good switch to the 19s to Rob Cross. They really have come to his rescue in these matches this evening.
So Rob sort of moved up through the gears and got his average up to 90. But it stayed there pretty much for the last 3 legs. Dobey has lifted his average up to mid-90s.
Crossing the treble, can't find a second, so tried to adjust. Great line, but couldn't find more than 1 treble 20.
Dobey beginning to see the winning line and just tighten up a shade. Doesn't look particularly happy with that visit, but he's down to 248. Cross 305 minus these. Starts on the 18, switch to the 19s, but zip treble 7. And then a single 7. That's a disaster.
Yeah, really has made a bit of a mess of that. Cross now back on 259, 248 left for Dobey. Plus these darts should be first to a finish, but needs a treble. 2 single 20s. Can't find the treble. That's the other thing, isn't it? When you do all the hard work to get yourself in this position, and then it just lets you down at the end.
Yeah, you just can't find that one. You know, you lit 140s all night on the practice board and you think, just a 140. It's not, you know, for these boys, it's not tough, but Rob Cross still back on 219. Just one more treble, he's thinking to himself. Come on, make it easy. Do you know what'll happen here? He'll end up on the ball, hit a 25, has to burn a dart. It's all going in the direction of Cross picking his pocket.
Yeah, and he's backing it up with 2 treble 20s. Scores for a 140.79. So really tapping on the shoulder here of Chris Dobey. He requires 88 for the match. Single 20.
No, that's madness. That's terrible board management. Chasing the treble when you can give yourself a dart to win the match.
So another opportunity, another potential let-off here for Rob Cross. He's hit the single 19, which leaves him 60.
Well, that's only just in the 20. Literally the other side of the wire of the 5. And I mean, that was a happy accident, really, because it left a clear line to the tops.
Yep, more match-winning opportunities here for Dobey, and this time he does take it. Little roar there from Chris Dobey, who runs out a 6-4 winner over Voltage Rob Cross. Wasn't a classic, but was a real scrap, a real battle. And the scenes that we're seeing, you can see how much it means to Chris Dobey. He is the first one through to the final tonight, and he will face either MVG or Luke Humphries.
Yeah, and that'll be a totally different proposition. 418 is in the end for Chris Dobey. The double, 6 from 17. That's something that he can have a little bit of work on in between the next game and the final, which he will be playing in. But up next, it is Luke Humphries against Michael van Gerwen.